Hello, Andrew Collishaw here. I hope you're well and I hope you're taking care of your health. Just a few minutes to go through a really important common problem that I see every day at the clinic, and that is hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. You've probably heard of it or you've probably experienced this yourself. So what it is the blood sugar level drops, and as a result of that you get a whole lot of different symptoms. Now the common symptoms are tiredness, fatigue, aching, sore muscles. You can become anxious and irritable, nervous. You can also have a bit of palpitations, very tired, your concentration is really low. These are the sorts of symptoms. Headaches as well is a really common one. Did I mention trembling? So you get these symptoms in varying degrees, and also there are a whole lot of other symptoms that you may experience as well, but they're the common ones. And it can be a real problem because what we need to be able to do is have energy levels that sustain us right through the day, so that we can wake up in the morning and our energy levels are here, and by the end of the day they're pretty much here, or maybe a little bit down, or they don't vary much at all. With hypoglycemia you get too many of these dips and they're too big, and so you're up and you're down, your symptoms come up and then they disappear. So this can lead to other problems, for example diabetes. Diabetes is a disruption of the blood sugar levels in the blood, and so therefore hypoglycemia can be a prelude to that sort of thing. Also, if you're having a diet that avoids the ups and downs, generally speaking you're going to be having a better diet, because it's a fast takeaway food type diet that actually contributes to the hypoglycemia. So let me explain very quickly what happens. When we eat complex carbohydrates, which are things like wholemeal bread, wholemeal rice, wholemeal pastas, these break down in the digestive system to simple sugars and primarily glucose. So you get big complex carbohydrates breaking down into small units of glucose, and this glucose is in the blood. Now what happens is that when there's glucose in the blood, the pancreas squirts out insulin, and that takes the glucose from the blood and puts it into the cell. Now what happens if you eat sugar, or if you eat lots of fruit, or if you eat anything that's made up of more simple sugars, and fructose, glucose, for example, sucrose, these sorts of things, these sorts of sugars will get absorbed very quickly. So what happens is that you don't get a trickle of glucose into the bloodstream, you get a great big, huge sudden increase in the levels. So what happens then is that the pancreas pushes out heaps of insulin, and it actually pushes out too much, and therefore when the insulin takes the glucose back into the cell, what happens is that it takes too much glucose out of the blood, and you end up with very low levels of blood sugar, which is not a good thing, and that's when you get all the symptoms. So what we need to be doing is thinking very carefully about the carbohydrates that we're eating. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, the other thing that happens when your blood sugar level is very low, you get two other hormones called glucagon and adrenaline that are released into the bloodstream, and what happens is that then will increase the blood glucose levels and try and get it back up to normal. So you get a dip in the blood sugar, and then you get an increase, and then you get another dip, and as insulin is secreted, and so you get this cyclic process going on as your blood tries to get back to normal again. This is very disruptive at a physiological level, and it will also cause all those symptoms that I mentioned before. So back to the carbohydrates. So what you need to be doing is thinking very carefully and making sure that your diet includes the complex carbohydrates, wholemeal breads, wholemeal cakes with minimal sugar, if any at all. Even honey is broken down very quickly, so honey is not a great substitute. You still get that big influx of blood sugar levels and then the drop. Oats are really good, porridge, muesli, also any wholemeal crackers, wholemeal pastas, etc. These sorts of carbohydrates are really important in sustaining your energy levels through the day. What you can do is have a small portion a few times during the day. So breakfast, maybe mid-morning you have one wholemeal cracker with some avocado or something on it. So you can have these carbohydrates during the day. Now what you also need to avoid are tea and coffee, especially coffee, because it really gives you a strong hit, doesn't it? But then what happens is that you get that dip afterwards, and smoking as well, that can do a similar sort of thing. Okay, so that puts a bit of light on hypoglycemia. The solution is fairly simple, but it does take a bit of thinking about. Complex carbohydrates trickled throughout the day, that will help a lot of people. Okay, I hope that's helpful, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye for now.